just send her back. Anytime she gets too far ahead, we just send her back. Back to where you belong. And I'm to the outside of the circle here, so being to the outside, she should go slower, which she is right now. But if she doesn't, like right here, she's speeding up, so I'm just gonna tell her to go back. And all my hands, so I'm pushing with my hands. The rope, everybody watches, thinks the rope's the cue. It's not. My body's the cue. The rope is just the, hey, you're not listening to the body. And so as long as she keeps herself in a respectful position, then I know. And part of the reason I'm doing this is to break up the crust so that when we start doing stuff and I get on her, it's not going to be as hard for her. But once I know she's willing to do that, then I'll transition to where she's on the outside. Just make sure she stays to the outside and doesn't try to cut in. So here, I'm just pushing her back. I let the rope touch her if she doesn't listen very well. But it's my hand, really. This is really the cue. But let a little bit hang out of the rope. It gives you that little extra. Gives me a chance to work on her emotions. Okay. So I got that. So let me see how she feels about going out on her own and coming back. She didn't want to come back, so we send her out on her own. She's going to come back. She's not wanting to come back. So we send her out again. Ask her to come back. Not a good one. There we go. So that little extra to the hip because she didn't fully come back. Now she stopped and she was kind of with me. But the fact that that hind end didn't go out, in her mind, she wasn't with me. She was looking for other options. So send her out. Ask her to come back. Careful on that. So she's coming back a little better. She's acting a little quieter. Right there was a little anxiety. I'm waiting. Okay, she didn't understand that I was talking to her hind end, so I had to make sure I threw energy at it so that she knew what I was speaking. So go out, come back. Comes back a whole lot better on the right. Come back. So we're pretty good on the right. So let's do that left a couple more times. Yeah, that's nice. Good. Take her out. Stop her. She's looking around. Not totally. There we go. Okay. So I'm just going to ask her to focus on me for a minute. And then I'm going to tie the lead rope as a rein and start working on climbing on her. But what I'm looking to do is just try and get her to meditate a little bit. Kind of free up that mind from all the distractions. Okay, so that happened quick, so I don't have to do a lot of it. But when it doesn't take, if it takes longer, then I should do a little bit more. I don't do it all the time, but of the two, she's got more anxiety, so I wanted to do a little bit of it just to make sure that I know how quickly she's going to come back to me in a stressful moment. So here, I want to make sure that I can get her to bend on the movement of that knot. She's ready to fall asleep here, so. That didn't take long. I didn't get any foolishness, so I'm ready to move to the next stage. She's okay. The other side, just to be sure. Just gonna ask her to relax. She relaxed. Did you see how I asked for that?
Yes.
Just wiggled. Just movement of that knot. That's, you know, between that and the touch of the rib cage, that's how I ask for them to relax, and I incorporate that in everything I do. So if I'm doing groundwork, it'll be assumed pressure to the ribs, a draw on the face. You know, if I'm at liberty and there's no knot hanging, it'll be a draw on the face with a little bit of push on the ribs. If I'm just doing something with the knot, it'll be the wiggle of the knot. If I'm just doing something with the body, it'll be just a little bit of touch in the rib cage. When I'm riding, I incorporate a gentle touch in the ribs, like a hug, or you know, somebody who might gently put their hand on your lower back to help guide you through a tight space. You know what I mean? That's kind of how it should feel to them. And a little bit of wiggle on the rein if need be. So, okay. Okay. So we got a little bit of stress out of her there. So I don't want to go too far. Make sure she understands. I need her calm and relaxed so she can't think. So I want to make sure that whatever I do, she can relax. So right here, I want her to bend to me. If she doesn't come to this, then I'm going to do this. Right? Because the more I can do here, the less I have to do here, and the less restricted they feel. Anytime you get in trouble with a horse, it's because of restriction. So, you know, if they're not going and you pull harder, they're restricted. So that creates more anxiety and causes more problems. So we don't want to cause more problems. So the more we can do from here, the less we do from here, the less likely they're going to feel like they're being restricted. And so yes, we want to get to that point where we can hold them in contact with some reasonable pressure and not have them panic. But there's a lot of horses that rely on those reins so much that when they panic, they root into it instead of give to it. But if we teach them, this is the main reason we're not going to really pull unless you're not listening to this, then when they feel that extra pressure, it means something. But if all we do is pull on a rein to get them to bend, it doesn't mean as much. Because now they're saying, yeah, I know, but I can't, right? Or sometimes they don't even think at all. So we got to get as many habitual aspects to getting what we want. So like we need to be able to turn them in multiple different ways. We need to be able to bend them in multiple different ways. We need to be able to ask them to relax in multiple different ways. We need to be able to ask for a forward movement in multiple different ways. We need to be able to ask for a backup in multiple different ways. The more we have, the easier it is to get control when they lose their mind. And so, but if you go through a process that maintains mental stability, then you don't get there in the first place. And the only way to really maintain the mental stability is give them pure understanding. Pure understanding will never bring the anxiety, because anxiety is caused from what we don't know. We fear the unknown. So the more they know and understand, the less likely they're going to have a freak out moment. So, all right, here we go. So here I'm just going to sit for a minute. I'm going to watch her. I'm going to see how she feels about this. Eyes are closing, right? I'm going to bring my legs in. I'm going to wiggle that knot because I want to ask her to drop her head just a little bit. She's a little confused, so I'm going to wait her out. She thinks I'm asking for a backup. She doesn't understand. Yeah, good girl. Good girl. Right? So, she didn't understand that simple little thing. You know, and I know a lot of trainers will start running to get somebody pushing the horse and just ride them out. I don't know. I want them to understand their job before I ever ask them to take a step. So here I'm going to ask her to bend. So again, I'm going to turn my body, ask her to bend to the right. She's getting a little anxious, so I'm going to ask her to relax. Good. And then I'm going to ask her to straighten up. So I'm going to sit straight. She's not listening to that, so my left leg goes on and start pulling that rein. Good. So now I'm going to turn. Notice when I turn my shoulder, my heel matches. They go together. Whatever my shoulder does, my heel does. It's not a big movement. But so when I turn, I bring the pressure in now, slack, and then I'm going to wiggle together until she understands. Now notice the direction I'm pulling in, because I don't want forward movement. If I wanted forward movement, I would reach in this direction, which would encourage a forward step. So when you want your horse to turn left, if you're pulling your rein backwards towards your hip or off to the side this way, and you can't get a forward step, it's because they're understanding the energy for the direction in which your hand is traveling. So just be aware of that if you ever get stuck and you want to try and turn your horse. So again, straighten out with my right leg, turn my body, right leg moved, touch, slack, wiggle. Okay, so now I'm looking straight. She's not straight, so I'm going to touch with my left leg. She's not turning left, so I'm going to stop asking her to turn left. A little better. Okay, so now I'm going to turn, look at the camera. Legs move. She's not listening, so I'm going to pick up. Now she went a little too far. I'm looking at the camera. She's looking at my foot. I want to start calibrating how much of what I'm looking at I can't really tell if she's looking right at it, but it's better than looking at my boot. So, you know, I want to start calibrating that right from the get-go. Whatever I look at, I want her to understand what I'm looking at. And the only way she's going to do that is if I explain to her. So, let's go right. It's close. Let's look at that right there. I don't want her, oh, that's too far. Too far. So right here, I'm just going to start finessing. She's getting a little nervous here, so I'm gonna just let her gently move around, but I'm gonna keep her bent so that I can control any foolishness that happens. Notice she's backing out. That's because my energy is backwards. I don't want her to go forward or stop bolting for any reason. So she's settled. Girl. So now I'm gonna ask her to look at that corner. So I'm gonna turn my body, apply my leg, pull out the slack, and wait till she's looking. Nope, too far. There you go. Nope. So right. And I'm trying to use my peripheral for that. Good. I don't want to look at her face. I want to try and use my peripheral awareness. So again, we're going to turn left. Good. She's not giving me enough this time. There we go. And so now I'm going to have her turn all the way and look at the camera. So I'm going to turn. My shoulder went back, so my leg's got to go back extra far, and she needs to look all the way back. All the way. That's pretty close. I don't know that I want to make her bend anymore. So left leg to straighten out. Let's turn. Okay, so now I'm going to ask for my first forward step. And remembering from my groundwork that she comes back to me easier on the right, I'm going to ask for my first step bent to the right. So here we go. And now, instead of pulling this way to get the bend, I'm going to start reaching this way to get that bend. It's not really forward. She wants to stay in this. Here we go. Forward. So I'm going to straighten her out a little bit. Okay, so she doesn't want to go. So we got to switch and go left and see if we can get forward to the left. And notice I'm a little forward. So where my hand is, I use this as my guide. So if I'm going off sideways, I'm asking for a 90-degree step. If I come off this way, I'm asking for a backup step. If I'm going off towards the front, good girl. Easy, easy. She's loving it. She's loving it. Yeah. Yeah. See? Got itchy. Okay. Okay. So now I'm going to ask for a forward step to the right. I'm having a hard time here. Go backwards. There we go. That was kind of sideways, but that was forward. Right? So let's go left again. So here I'm also pushing with my right side. I may not have done that before. I wasn't paying attention. But this is very helpful as well. It's not just this. It's not just this. It's not just this. Like I said before, we got to have multiple ways of asking so that we can clarify. So I'm going to ask her to relax, lifting my heel, asking her to bend, right? So when she's doing stuff like that, that's distress, mental distress. So little wiggle, little touch, and let her know that I'm with her. I know that that it bothers her and that she doesn't have anything to worry about when she's with me. So here she's doing it on this side, so I'm going to ask her to put weight on that foot. Yeah. So let's go left again. Pooping again?
Yeah.
Let her do that. And ready? Wow, we got some real. So here I'm just slowing her down because I don't want her to just go crazy. My body's not asking for anything, so I want to slow her down. Now I'm asking for something. My body, my legs, my hands, everything is asking for something. There we go. Good. So I'm going to let her keep walking for a little bit, and then I'm going to ask her to slow down by sitting deep. And I'm going to say, put some weight on that foot. Good girl. Okay. Lock. Sit, so I pick up the rein, right? So I'm going to ask her to walk again. Looking for forward, so good girl. How to find, now I'm going to find that rhythm. Then I'm going to sit. Listening to the sit, so pick up the rein, and I'm releasing this one. I'm only doing it with my left. Worst thing you can do is pull on two reins. I don't care how well trained your horse is, the worst thing you can do is pull on two reins. So get used to working in one rein. And a lot of times, if I have a problem with a horse, I'll actually ride in the rope halter without tying it as reins, and I'll just use the one rein so that I don't screw up and pull with two. So here we go, forward step to the right. Good. Good. So, oh, she got distracted. I'll let her smell it. Pretty soon I won't let her do stuff like that, but for now, I want her as calm and relaxed as she can be. So yeah, nice and forward, forward, and then sit there. Listening? Just tug, tug, tug. There we go. Not listening. Tug, tug, tug. Right? So these gentle tugs. Now, if she kept going, I'm not going to force her to stop. I'm just going to keep suggesting it. If she picked up speed, I'd get in rhythm with her with whatever she's doing, and then make a transition back to the stop again once I got in her rhythm. So let's walk. And let's stop. Tug, tug, tug. Right? So the gentleness of that stop is what's going to get her to stop on your seat within the next few rounds. So I got a little bit of anxiety going on here. And so rather than stop her and say, oh, don't go anywhere, you know, it's not that. So notice she's going backwards, right? Where's my hand going? Right? If I want her to go forward, I gotta send my hand forward. Right? And that's what's gonna get the forward steps. Now she's backing because I'm sitting up. And so here I just want to keep working on going from left to right. And then left. Notice I'm pushing, pushing, pushing right through that left ear. And then I'm going to push through the right ear. So my left side is doing more than my right side. At least it should be. I don't care if you're an English rider or a Western rider. So here, I'm going to try both reins. It's too confusing for us. So I'm going to just pull on one. And pull on the right just to say, no, don't keep doing a circle. So when if the left is making her do a circle, I'll stop using the left and start using the right to say, no, don't do a circle, stop. So, but it's still just one rein at a time. So I'm going to try and take her a little further out of the center here. Again, through my right side, use my, and now I'm pulling off to the side just a little bit because I don't want her speeding up, so I'm not going to reach forward. I'm going to try and get a little closer to Alyce here and see what kind of a magnetic draw we have. Does she listen to me? There's a little bit of a magnetic draw. She's with me pretty good. She's not listening, so I just keep picking up on that left rein. If she stops, I'll pull on the right, but I'll stop pulling on the left when I switch to the right. Again, let's go. Nice turn on the haunches there. That's exactly what I was looking for. Let's see if we can do it here. Up, girl. To the right. And again. Reaching. Reaching. Good girl. Good girl. She pooping again?
Uh-huh.
So maybe she wasn't listening to my body. I thought she stopped on my body there. So let's do that again. See how good the magnet is in the right eye. So she actually draws over to her a little bit more in the right. And boom. So she's not. So I'm going to pull on the right, pull on the left, and I'm going to ask her to go again. Oop. Forward. Right hand, left hand, left hand, right hand, left hand, left hand. Left hand, right hand, left hand, right hand. So now she's listening. I can go to a neutral. What?
I was looking at Elsie. I was listening to you and not putting the camera on you when you did it.
I'm just waiting for a really good stop to my body, and I'm going to jump off and call it good. So right here, I'll get into a neutral. So she's getting nervous. Let's put her to work and ask her to relax. Be a little bit more animated with my body. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm really pushing. And now when I stop, she's not listening. So here, I'm trying to stop her in a straight line, so I'm using two hands instead of, but alternating. Yeah, I just pulled on two and I shouldn't have, but I had them both in the same hand, so. I know. All you gotta do is get one good stop and we'll quit. So right here, as long as I can maintain a rhythm, when that rhythm stops, she should feel it, right? So here we go. We got a rhythm, and whoa. neutral. She decided to go, so I'm back in my neutral. And this is go. She's not listening. I'm gonna go tighter. Notice where my left hand is. I'm reaching up towards that ear. No matter where it is, that's where I'm sending it. So my right hand basically controls the bend, and my left hand controls the push. So if I want to go left, I'll try and get a deeper bend. Actually, my leg and my body is supposed to control the bend. The hand makes up for whatever's not listening. So, and I just got myself staring at her head. Woo. Woo. Good girl. Now right there is the first time she stopped on my body, so I'm stopping right now. We're done. Okay, sweetie? I'm getting off. You did good. You did good. Yeah. Oh, what am I doing? I don't need to take that off. Just need to untie it. You did good. So how much of that you got? You still recording it?
Yeah.